world. Here are the most mysterious archaeological discoveries ever made. 9. Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is an illustrated codex handwritten in an unknown writing system. The vellum on which it has been written has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, 1404 to 1438, and it may have been composed in northern Italy during the Italian Renaissance. Some of the pages are missing, with around 240 remaining. The text is written from left to right, and most of the pages have mysterious illustrations or diagrams, which suggest it holds vast knowledge in the fields of astronomy, biology, cosmology, and pharmaceutical chemistry. Nobody has yet been able to decipher the Voynich manuscript, despite having been studied by many professional and amateur cryptographers, including American and British codebreakers from both World War I and World War II. For this reason, it has become a famous case in the history of cryptography. The mystery of the meaning and origin of the manuscript has excited the popular imagination, making the manuscript the subject of novels and speculation. The Voynich manuscript currently resides in Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. 8. The Mount Owen Claw. Nearly 3 decades ago, a team of archaeologists were carrying out an expedition inside a large cave system on Mount Owen in New Zealand when they stumbled across a frightening and unusual object. An enormous dinosaur-like claw still intact with flesh and scaly skin. The claw was so well preserved that it appeared to have come from something that had only died very recently. The archaeological team retrieved the claw and took it for analysis. The mysterious claw was found to be the 3,300-year-old mummified remains of an upland moa, a large prehistoric bird that had disappeared from existence centuries earlier. The claw is still available to look at in the Natural History Museum of New Zealand. 7. Sacsayhuaman. Sacsayhuaman is one of the most stunning Inca ruins, located on the northern outskirts of the old city of Cusco, Peru, the former capital of the Inca Empire. Built like a fortress, the complex covers a huge area, but they constitute perhaps only a quarter of the original complex, which, at the time, could have easily housed more than 10,000 people. What remains today are the outstanding outer walls, constructed in a zigzag formation on 3 levels. Like many Inca constructions, the walls are made of massive, irregularly shaped boulders that fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, without the aid of mortar. The stones are so closely spaced that even a piece of paper cannot be inserted between many of the stones. The biggest cornerstone stands 8.5 meters high. The longest of 3 walls is about 400 meters and stands 6 meters tall, and a single boulder is estimated to weigh between 120 to 200 tons. Sacsayhuaman is usually described as a fortress, but recent investigations suggest that it could have been a temple devoted to the worship of the sun. 6. Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are a series of large ancient geoglyphs in the Nazca Desert in southern Peru. They are so large, they can only be seen when flying over the Peruvian desert. The largest figures are up to 370 meters long, and they were designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994. Scholars believe the Nazca Lines were created by the Nazca culture between 500 BCE and 500 CE. The figures vary in complexity. Hundreds are simple lines in geometric shapes. More than 70 are zoomorphic designs of animals, such as birds, fish, llamas, jaguars, monkeys, or human figures. Other designs include shapes such as trees and flowers. Scholars differ in interpreting the purpose of the designs, but, in general, they ascribe religious significance to them. 5. Göbekli Tepe. 6 miles from Urfa, an ancient city in southeastern Turkey, Klaus Schmidt made one of the most startling archaeological discoveries of our time. Massive carved stones about 11,000 years old, crafted and arranged by prehistoric people who had not yet developed metal tools or even pottery. These megaliths predate Stonehenge by around 6,000 years. The place is called Göbekli Tepe, and archaeologists have found over 200 enormous pillars during the expedition. Schmidt, a German archaeologist who has been working here for more than a decade, is convinced it's the site of the world's oldest temple. 4. Terracotta Army. In 1974, a group of archaeologists in Xi'an, China, made an excavation which became the discovery of the greatest funeral art ever, the Terracotta Army. They found thousands of clay soldiers buried near the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. He was the first emperor of China. The clay soldiers were buried with him for protection from different forces after death. This ancient complex is around 2,200 years old. The archaeologists also found different weapons along with the sculptures. They were perfectly arranged within different clay corridors. There are 4 main pits that can be seen inside this archaeological site. 3 pits are filled by the Terracotta Army and ancient weapons, whereas the 4th one remains empty. Many parts of the complex and the tomb of Qin Shi Huang has still not been excavated. 3. Moai statues, Easter Island heads. The Moai statues of Easter Island, also known as the Easter Island Heads, are one of the most mysterious and iconic archaeological discoveries ever made. These statues are the main tourist attractions of Easter Island. The Moai statues were carved by ancient people of Rapa Nui between 1300 to 1500 CE. There are 288 Moai statues in total, situated on various massive stone platforms on the island. The Moai statues have an average height of 13 feet, and they are as heavy as 80 tons. The Rapa Nui people used rocks from inactive volcanoes on the island to carve these statues. The D-shaped base of the statues allowed them to be moved side by side with the support of strong ropes. 2. Stonehenge. Stonehenge, one of the most famous landmarks in the UK, is regarded as a British cultural icon. It is a prehistoric monument made up of a ring of many large freestanding stones. Each stone is around 13 foot high, 7 foot wide, and weighs around 25 tons. The actual purpose of Stonehenge is still unknown, although there are several hundred burial mounds nearby. Archaeologists have dated the human remains to be around 4,500 years old, buried at some point between 3000 BCE and 2000 BCE. This mysterious monument has captured the fascination of archaeologists all around the world. 1. Great Pyramids. It's argued that the Egyptian pyramids are the greatest ancient structures ever to be created. Even though many civilizations built pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids are a cut above the rest. The Great Pyramid of Giza always makes it on lists of the greatest wonders of the world, and for good reason. It is estimated that Egyptians started building their pyramids in 2700 BCE, mainly as a tomb for preserving the corpses of their emperors. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest and tallest pyramid of Egypt, with a height of 481 feet. The pyramids were constructed using millions of limestones, but the method of construction is still debated to this day, as nobody knows for sure how they did it. Inside the pyramids, archaeologists have found valuable treasures and preserved remains of both human and animal corpses, mostly cats. The walls of the